What happens when a former president appears on a podcast and delivers a 47-minute masterclass in presidential communication, while the current president can't answer a single question without dissolving into incoherent rage? When Barack Obama demonstrates what actual leadership sounds like by using words like decency, courtesy, and kindness, concepts that are completely foreign to Donald Trump's vocabulary. When the contrast between presidencies becomes so stark that on President's Day, you realize America would genuinely be better off with any previous White House occupant than the disaster currently in office. I'm Elizabeth Morgan, and welcome to the Elizabeth Morgan channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts. Share this video because this story needs to get out there. This matters because on this President's Day, while Donald Trump stands alone as America's worst president, a category where even Richard Nixon, who committed actual crimes in office towers above him, Barack Obama reminded the nation what presidential leadership actually looks like. Obama appeared on Brian Tyler Cohen's podcast released over the weekend and offered a 47-minute rebuke to Trump simply by being himself. We're talking about a former president who did what Trump never does. Actually answered every question, really answered them. Not the lie-filled gibberish Trump throws at reporters that the Washington press corps pretends counts as responding. Right now, as you watch this, the distance between these two presidencies couldn't be more complete. No contrast in American history is more stark than between Donald Trump, the overtly racist president, and Barack Obama, the only black president. One who speaks coherently and thinks clearly. Another who can't complete sentences without lying or attacking someone. One who uses words like decency, courtesy, and kindness. Another who doesn't understand what those concepts mean, much less how to embody them. This is the investigation into why Obama's President's Day message matters, what his celebration of Minneapolis resistance teaches about fighting authoritarianism, and why hope depends on recognizing that the majority of Americans still believe in values Trump has completely abandoned. What you're about to hear should concern every American wondering whether democracy can survive this test. This channel brings you the investigations mainstream media won't touch. Not because they can't, but because doing so requires acknowledging that Washington reporters give Trump unearned credit for taking questions, even though he never actually answers them, and most never bother demanding real responses. How did America fall from a president who embodied respect for office to one who posts racist images and deploys federal agents against citizens? What does Obama's response to Trump's racist poison reveal about the path forward? And what are the consequences when behavior that would have disqualified any candidate just years ago is now not only acceptable but actually rewarded? Let's follow Obama's answer, the Minneapolis uprising he highlighted, and what it means when one president speaks about golden rules while his successor embodies cruelty. Because this isn't partisan. This is about whether American democracy survives. Brian Tyler Cohen opened his interview with President Obama by addressing how American discourse has devolved into unprecedented cruelty. What was disqualifying just a few years ago now feels fine, acceptable, even rewarded. Administration officials calling ISIS attack victims domestic terrorists. J.D. Vance declaring it's okay, you don't have to apologize for being white. And just days earlier, Donald Trump posting an image of Obama's face on an ape's body, a racist attack so vile it would have ended any previous political career instantly. Cohen asked the essential question, how do we come back from where we've fallen? Obama's 5-minute answer was, everything Trump is not, thoughtful, complete, actually addressing what was asked. He began by recognizing that the majority of Americans find Trump's behavior deeply troubling. Not half, not barely more than half. A substantial majority who still believe in decency, courtesy, and kindness despite the clown show dominating social media and television. Obama acknowledged Trump's behavior gets attention, that it's a distraction. But traveling around the country, he noted, you meet people who maintain basic values. What's been lost is any sense of shame among people who used to understand you needed decorum, propriety, and respect for the office. But here's where Obama's message became powerful. He didn't just criticize Trump, he pointed to hope grounded in actual resistance happening right now in Minnesota and Minneapolis. Obama described the unprecedented nature of what ICE was doing in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Federal agents deployed without clear guidelines or proper training, pulling people from their homes, using 5-year-old children to trap their parents, tear-gassing peaceful crowds standing there not breaking any laws. The rogue behavior of federal government agents, Obama said, is deeply concerning and dangerous. Those words matter. Concerning, dangerous. They reflect understanding that power has limits, that norms matter, that government can't operate like authoritarian police forces. Trump doesn't grasp these concepts because his entire worldview centers on unlimited personal power. But Obama didn't stop at criticism. He celebrated the extraordinary response. The outpouring of community organizing, neighbors buying groceries for families afraid to leave homes, citizens accompanying children to school so ICE-targeted parents wouldn't risk arrest, teachers standing up for students. Not randomly, Obama emphasized, but systematically, in organized fashion, citizens declaring this is not the America we believe in and we're going to fight back, pushing back with truth, with cameras, with peaceful protests, shining light on behavior Americans have seen in authoritarian countries and dictatorships, but never in America until now. That heroic, sustained behavior in sub-zero weather by ordinary people should give us hope, Obama said, because ultimately, democracy works when citizens activate, pay attention, say enough, and demand better. The way we restore norms, rule of law, and decency is through citizen action. Obama referenced something he'd said on a panel previously. During easy times, peaceful times, it's simple to claim we believe in certain values when those values aren't challenged. Easy to support free speech when government isn't suppressing it. Easy to practice the golden rule when you're not at risk of arrest for doing so. Right now we're being tested, and the good news is what we're seeing in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Los Angeles, and communities across the country. Americans saying no. Declaring their values matter enough to defend even when defense carries real risk. Obama then delivered critical political insight. The winning formula for Democratic Party unity is creating welcoming environments where everyone feels there's room for them. The message has to be, none of us are perfect, all of us count. We all have good in us we can tap into, we can all learn from each other. That's part of the fun of politics, Obama said. The community and social bonding that organizing creates. He mentioned his friend Michelle Norris from Minnesota, who was there during the mobilization, talking to neighbors she'd known for years as they organized protests and activities around ICE operations. Norris showed Obama a clip of a street band performing every night after the day's activities and protests. People out there playing music. Obama admitted he couldn't figure out how they managed playing horns and drums in 0-degree weather because he wouldn't have been able to put his lips on a trumpet. People celebrating what they'd accomplished, embodying the values that make us care about other people. That spirit, Obama said, is what Democrats win with. When Democrats tap into coming together, they succeed. The other side does mean angry demagoguery, exclusive U.S. versus them divisive politics. That's their home court. Democrats' court is bringing people together. Think about that President's Day contrast. Obama celebrating community organizing and shared values. Trump posting racist images and deploying federal agents to terrorize families. Obama speaking about the golden rule and democracy being tested. Trump calling opponents terrorists and claiming unprecedented power. The difference isn't subtle. It's the chasm between someone who understands democratic governance and someone demanding authoritarian control. Between someone believing in Americans' capacity for decency and someone exploiting their worst impulses. Between a president who respected the office and one who degrades it daily. Obama's answer included words Trump genuinely doesn't understand, not because Trump lacks vocabulary, but because he lacks the values those words represent. Decency means treating people with respect even when you disagree. Trump doesn't do that. Courtesy means acknowledging others' humanity. Trump can't do that. Kindness means acting with empathy and care. Trump doesn't know how. These aren't abstract. They're foundations of democratic society. When leaders model these values, communities practice them. When leaders embody cruelty and racism, those behaviors metastasize throughout society. What happened in Minneapolis proves Americans can resist. When ICE agents operated without proper authority, when federal power was abused, when families were terrorized, the community organized. Not with violence, not with chaos, but with systematic peaceful resistance. Documenting abuses, protecting neighbors, standing up for values, even in sub-zero weather. That's the America Obama believes in. That's the America Trump fears. Because Trump's power depends on fear, isolation, and belief that resistance is futile. When communities organize, when neighbors protect neighbors, when citizens shine light on authoritarian behavior, Trump's power evaporates. He backs down. He retreats. We've seen this pattern. Trump threatened Greenland, then backed off when backlash came. Trump deployed thousands of ICE agents to Minneapolis, then quietly pulled them out when political cost became too high. Trump's bluster collapses when Americans actually stand up. Obama's message wasn't that Trump isn't dangerous. Trump absolutely is dangerous. The message was that Americans have power to defeat that danger through organization, community, and commitment to democratic values. The answer to authoritarianism isn't better authoritarianism, it's democracy, real democracy where citizens organize and communities protect their own. By President's Day 2025, every American can see the choice clearly. Obama speaking thoughtfully about community values and citizen action. Trump posting racist attacks and deploying federal police against peaceful Americans. Obama celebrating ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Trump threatening anyone who opposes him. One president who understood the office's dignity. One president who degrades it constantly. One president who believes Americans can be better. One president who exploits Americans' worst for personal power. This matters beyond politics. Do Americans want leaders embodying decency, courtesy, and kindness, or leaders posting racist images and terrorizing communities? Do Americans want presidents answering questions honestly, or presidents who can't complete coherent sentences without lying? The test Obama described is happening now. American values are being challenged. Federal agents are being deployed against citizens. Authoritarian behavior belonging in dictatorships is happening here. The question is whether enough Americans will stand up, organize, and say no like Minneapolis did. If you found this valuable, subscribe to Elizabeth Morgan right now. Comment below. Does Obama's message about organizing and shared values offer a path forward? Share with your family, friends, co-workers. People need to understand the choice isn't between two parties. It's between two visions of America, one rooted in decency and democracy, one rooted in cruelty and authoritarianism. And listen, this story isn't over because what happened in Minneapolis is happening in communities across America. Ordinary people organizing, neighbors protecting neighbors, citizens saying no to federal overreach. That's the America Obama celebrated on President's Day. That's the America that will determine whether democracy survives this test.